A few moments in the life of past Champ Car champion Paul Tracy, including that last one, the unfortunate moment in which he was sidelined, has been since the Long Beach Grand Prix, but will return to action next week at Portland. And we're pleased to have him back on Wind Tunnel tonight to talk about that and more. PT, good to see you, man. Welcome back.
How are you? That was pretty entertaining stuff between Danica and Dan. That was a better exchange than putting me and Bourdais and Tagliani in a rubber room together.
I thought it was decent.
Yeah.
I thought it was decent. Did you watch the race?
No, I didn't see the race. I just heard that exchange, and I was like, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. It sounds like the sort of thing you get involved in occasionally.
I know.
It's one of the reasons we like you. Let's start with the most frequently asked PT question of the last couple of months. How did you break your back in a crash that seemed so minor? What's the post-mortem on the accident and the resulting injury? Well,
I was at the shop a couple weeks ago, and obviously I've been talking with Trammell a lot about the incident. He's been to our shop looking at the car with Scott Elkins, and I think the general consensus is that, I hit the wall head on at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. The way the car's seat belts were anchored in the car, and with the raised nose of the car with my feet elevated up off the ground, you don't really have a lot of leverage to hold yourself in place with your feet up off the ground, with a raised nose car. My body kind of submarined and slid forward in the car because the seat belts weren't with the location of the belts. It allowed my pelvis to kind of slide up the ramp of the seat, and at the same time my back came forward, compressing in the seat belts forward, and it just kind of crunched me like a taco, and I fractured a vertebrae right in the center of my sternum on the stomach side.
So is that then a design problem, or is that just a seatbelt mount fix?
Seatbelt mounting, and I've changed the seat pretty drastically from how I had the seat. So I think we've, it was just one of those things. I said to Trammell, I said, I've had so many huge accidents in my career, and I barely have had any seat in the car because I'm a bigger guy than most guys, and the Lola was a smaller car, and Penske's were smaller than that, and he just said, well, you've been pretty lucky. Basically, you've dodged a bullet a lot of times, and you didn't get away with it this time.
It's got to be frustrating with the big ones that you walked away from to have one that seemingly inconsequential hurts you. What happens as a result of this, of course, is you're 15th in points, and you're 50 behind the guy who seems to be becoming the perennial champion, your old buddy Sebastian. How do you then approach the remainder of this season? What do you want to get accomplished?
Well, we've had a plan from the beginning, and that was to run stronger. And I think we came out of the blocks really strong at Vegas. We were on the pole the first day and started on the front row. We had a good race. We had a fueling issue, which probably cost us the race. But we just have to draw off the things that we've done. If I'd have finished in the places that Oriole, who subbed for me, if I finished in the places that he finished in Long Beach and Houston, we'd be leading the championship. So. The team has done a good job this year, and everybody's working hard, and they've been working hard in this break, and I'm ready to come back now, so we're just going to try to take it one race at a time and get back into the frame.
Let's talk about NASCAR. Do I have this right? After several pretty unsatisfying starts in the Busch Series, you told your car owner, I'm done with that. I'm focused on Champ Car. You did a 5-year deal, and now you're going to run the Montreal Busch race? Do I have that right, and if so, what happened?
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And I got a call from Kevin Harvick about 3 weeks ago, and he said, hey, you want to come drive my car in Montreal and be teammates with Ron Fellows? And I, in the initial moment, I was like, man, that would be cool. I'd like to get in a good car, and it would be driving the 77 car, which has won races. It's a front-running car. And to teammate up with Ron Fellows, probably a lot of people don't know this, but the first race car that we ever bought when I was 15 years old, we bought from Ron, who was a struggling open-wheel racer back then, and he sold us his Formula Ford and went tin top racing, so that would have been kind of cool. But, trying to put it all together, he's got some sponsors that, he's got Coca-Cola as a sponsor, I've got Monster as a sponsor, so that was a conflict, and then the race kind of fell in a weekend gap of about a 5-race swing we've got going on back to back with only one weekend off. So I talked to Forsyth about it, and he wasn't real keen about it, and sponsors weren't keen, and his sponsors didn't like the Monster angle. So it kind of just didn't really come together. But it sounded like a cool idea.
So no more NASCAR. We're back to Plan A.
Yeah, I'm back to Plan A. You know, my focus this year was really to be on Champ Car, and you know, obviously we've had a big curveball thrown at us, but we're at where we're at, and the only thing I can do is concentrate on race to race and just keep plugging away and go at it and try to get race wins, and hopefully we can catch up.
Yeah, that's a shame. That would have been cool. I'd love to see you against what's that guy's name? Montoya.
That would have been fun.
I got a couple more questions on that. Can you stick around a minute? Let's do a commercial break and come back. I want to ask you about that and a couple of other of your past associates and what they've been up to. Let's do that. We're talking with Paul Tracy. It's coming to you live here. It's Wind Tunnel, presented by Alltel Wireless, and we will continue our conversation with PT right after the commercial break.